Hi, James Hayes, Don's Appliances, joined by my good friend Rob Sobek.
Hi.
Today we're going to be talking about technology in appliances, and more so, more advanced technology they're adding into appliances, anything from Wi-Fi connectivity to AI, and maybe all the things in between. Where do you want to start out with that one, Rob?
Well, that buzzword, that term that people are just adding on to the tail end of every word in marketing, AI.
Yeah.
Anything that is new and cutting edge in the appliance industry seems to have those two letters at the end.
Yeah.
The big players in the AI market right now, as far as mainstream, are definitely Samsung, LG, and I think GE is getting into that as well. AI adaptive laundry, AI refrigerators, AI ranges, et cetera, and so on. I think we should probably open up with where we actually see value in it as far as where it stands right now, and then we can kind of talk about where we think it's going to go.
Yeah, and AI and laundry, just for reference, a lot of that is they're just adding turbidity sensors to them, and it's not. I wouldn't necessarily call that artificial intelligence.
It's more marketing.
Yeah, we've been doing that in dishwashers for like 20 years, so it's just a way of measuring soil level in the water and modifying the cycle. So wouldn't really call that AI. Neat feature. Like I can see benefit to that because it's going to, especially with these automatic dispensing systems and stuff, it's going to modify how much detergent it's dispensing, so you're not over soaping, things like that. So I can definitely see a value in that, but I wouldn't necessarily call that AI if you're one of those out there that are just like, I don't trust AI and don't want it in my unit.
Right, to that point, it's AI doesn't necessarily mean that you're talking to, like a chat GPT. You're not talking to your washing machine with prompts trying to get it to do your laundry. Really, it is just a repackaging of turbidity sensors and soil level sensors and the counterbalance in the washing machine that weighs how many clothes are in the washing machine. So a lot of it is marketing, a lot of it is repackaging, similar to how air fries repackaged convection.
Yep.
So you have to know that the AI as it stands right now, a lot of it is about marketing, and a lot of it is just repurposing what already exists. But with the new things that are coming, like the AI, whenever it comes to adaptive cooking and like wall ovens and things, can you touch on that?
Yeah, 100%. So Samsung's had it out for a few years in some of their ranges. Signature Kitchen Suites has it coming out in a couple of their wall ovens, but basically cameras and wall ovens are not a new thing. They've been around for a while on select brands, but they're implementing the ability for it to sense the food that's on the tray. So if you got a tray of Brussels sprouts and you go to put it in, the camera sees it, and then it'll come up on the screen. It's like, and it's not necessarily smart enough to be like, that's Brussels sprouts, but it's going to recognize that it's a green vegetable, and it's going to pop up on the screen, like broccoli, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, and you can just hit the Brussels sprouts option, and it will just go ahead and set it to like, 350 and for 25 minutes or whatever the recipe happens to be. So you are seeing some of that, and then LG and Samsung does have it on a couple models, but it can actually sense the food in your fridge too, and as you're loading stuff in, is keeping track of what's in there, and it'll kind of let you know as stuff's starting to expire. It's like, hey, this dozen eggs have been sitting here for 2 weeks, maybe you should use these up, and here's some recipe ideas for you to use for those particular items. So I can see some like advantage to that, especially like, if you have a family and buy a lot of stuff and you have a huge fridge and things get buried in the back, and have it be like, hey, you bought this like 2 weeks ago. Let's get through it, or well, probably a week ago. Yeah. So there's definitely some advantages there. And there's some areas that are implementing it, like faucets and stuff. I don't really understand why my faucet needs Wi-Fi.
The voice faucet, I haven't wrapped my head around that, and I think this is very much in a this is what's hot at the second social media age, similar to Samsung, who also, as we all know, is a big player in the phone and tablet and social media market. That camera in their ranges, being able to do time lapses of your entire cook. Great for cooking social media influencers and things of the like.
Yeah, 100%. The cameras in your ovens can be used for other simpler things. Just so everyone's aware, if you have a 400-degree oven and you open the door, the temperature inside your oven is going to drop.
Imagine that.
I've had this conversation with customers in the past that didn't necessarily understand that, which is fine. But the idea of the camera is to be able to open your app look inside of the oven without opening the door, so you can get a better idea of what's happening with your food and not having that big temperature drop.
Yeah, to that point, the oven windows on ranges and wall ovens, the windows keep getting bigger, the lights keep getting brighter, and people still feel the need to open up the door to go in and look at the results and where the food sits, and then they wonder why the temperature drops and it goes back to heating, and then the cook isn't perfect, so to speak. So the camera is kind of adapting to the market in that they make the windows bigger, they make the lights brighter, they change the colors of the interior so it reflects light better, and still people are opening doors and calling and complaining.
Yep.
So the camera is kind of the solution to that.
Yeah, there's no real workaround for thermodynamics. It is what it is.
Yeah, science.
Yeah.
You know.
An area of technology, and maybe I'm just thinking about this right now because I'm tired and it's 8:30 in the morning. But the coffee. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of your built-in coffee machines and even some of your even drip coffee pots and stuff, you can fire those things up via Wi-Fi, so they're already preheated and ready to roll when you get down to the machine, which is, I don't know. It's not that it's that big of a deal for me to turn mine on and let it warm up, but it's handy if it's already done and ready when I get to it.
Yeah, there is a brand that I'm aware of with their built-in coffee machine that it integrates with a certain like smart home product that also integrates with a certain brand of car. And there's a whole thing about you can tell your car as you're pulling in the garage to make you your coffee, and like it's sitting there. But they don't mention the whole like it has to rinse and there needs to be a cup there, and there's a lot of prerequisites.
Sure.
But I there's definitely value, I think, with Wi-Fi whenever it comes to like a built-in coffee machine. There's a lot of appliances where the Wi-Fi capabilities are good, and just like with the oven window and the camera, trying to adapt to where the market is. We have a huge problem in America where people don't turn their hood on whenever they turn their cooktop or their range on. And we're getting into, if you stay within brand, like GE is a fine example of, I think it's called, At Home Chef or Chef Connect or something.
Yeah.
But the range and the hood talk to each other via Bluetooth, and basically you turn on a burner and the hood turns on, and the more burners that are on, the higher output the hood is on. And other brands are doing it too.
Yeah.
But that's huge for us as a dealer, because we'll get calls about over-the-range microwaves being fried, or range hoods being all blocked up with grease and not cleanable, or cabinets being destroyed a couple years after a remodel. And, as a servicing dealer, we have a really hard time saying, so what you're saying is you didn't turn your hood on.
Yeah. 100%. So, and that's, to that point, I know LG's implemented that into their over-the-range microwaves and stuff recently. So, once you turn on the unit, if they're both hooked into the same network, it just kicks it on and prevents some of those issues from occurring.
Yeah.
So, but, if you want to know a little bit more about smart appliances, AI, any of those things, by all means, stop into the store, see myself, or you might even bump into Rob, or check it out on donsappliances.com. There are a lot of options.
You could ask ChatGPT. You could do that too. But I feel like we probably are a little bit more knowledgeable.
Yeah.